Howdy everyone, my name is Lucas Bazemore, and I am documenting my Lambda school journey. I realized that there was going to be a lot of content thrown at me, and I knew that when I was going into it, I wish I'd had something that kind of gave me a little bit more intimate knowledge on a day-to-day basis on what people were doing. And there's a couple that were really good out there that made me want to jump into it, but I wanted this to be kind of a view and a peek into Lambda School, as well as a kind of resource gathering for this, for myself and for others, as well as just kind of a documentation on the things that are kind of going on with the school, myself, and kind of being I guess, verbal diary of sorts. So I'm going to try to break these into three parts. These will be pretty short, 5-10 minutes at most. But first part will just kind of be my ramblings. Second part will be really the meat of what kind of went on during the day, what we learned. And then the last part will probably be kind of future, what to expect on what hopefully maybe I'm doing with it, or what, I'm going to try to work on next. So we'll see how that goes. But so I'll kind of dive into the ramblings of what the first day was like. My first impressions, it was very, very fast. I've been familiar with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I've worked on a startup, built applications with React. I've built applications with PHP. So none of this was new to me, and yet it was still moving very quickly. A lot of little holes in my knowledge that I didn't know I had. They had come up pretty quickly. So that was really good to kind of actually get a refresher on some of the base material, but learn and fill gaps of my knowledge that I didn't know I had. So it was fast, but also, knowledge filling. The second is I really wished I'd actually prepared more. I felt fairly confident going into it, but I wish I'd prepared a little bit more. And they've got plenty of material for you to kind of dive into beforehand. Everybody was like, hey, what do we do before we start class? And really it just came down to, don't kill yourself on preparation, but prepare, because it's going to go very quickly. And this is only day one, and I already can feel the kind of the pressure to move and to learn and to practice. And that was the third thing, was that lot of repetition, which, this is with any kind of skill-based game, wherever reps come into play, getting those reps in is paramount. So I think that with you think about sales, for instance, where, the guy who's just got more reps, who's made more dials, who's talked to more customers, he's probably going to be more successful because he's taking more risks, he's getting those reps in. And it's almost identical with this. So they've made it really, really good in terms of giving you good repetition without it being too redundant. So it's redundant, but it's not like boring redundant. And they have a lot of little challenges that make it worth continuing to practice, and they call stretch yourself. So overall, actually very impressed. It was a little hectic, but day one always is. So I'm not gonna say anything negative on that front. But I'll get into the meat of kind of what went on. So basically the way the day worked was we met with our team leads and the 6 to 7 people that'll be a part of my team. We met each other. We went over kind of just some rules, best practice, rules on engagement of the course. Then we dove straight into a lecture, kind of what's kind of to be expected on what we're doing. Then we had lunch, and then we had basically project time. It was 4 hours of, they had projects, you were to do them, help was available. You can jump on pair programming, which I'll get to in a second, ask for help, whatever the case may be. But it was very kind of self-driven the first day. Learn, watch the videos, read the modules, tackle the challenges as best as you can. And then we submitted that at the end of the day as part of our stand-up. So what we went over specifically was straight up HTML and CSS. We dove right into the meat of it, the difference between presentation tags and semantic tags, just, general CSS best practices in terms of, stylization, all the sorts of little stylization that you can do. One thing that I'd known about, I hadn't really used, but were like nth child pseudo selectors, including like first type of or nth type of, sorry, or nth of type is actually what it's called. So a lot of little things like that were, like I said, not part of intimately of my knowledge. But after that, they had, with each project that we did, there was stretch assignments. So basically extracurricular stuff. So one of them was to just add in animations, build an extra page based upon the project that we'd had, as well as, throw in some extra styling, make this look, prettier or uglier, however the heck you wanted to, but really just kind of push yourself on beyond what was just presented in the lectures, which was actually really cool. And what's awesome, what I really, really, really love, is that everybody is just throwing resources at each other left and right on how to learn and different tools that are available. So, I mean, I had like 10 tools with today that I'd never been exposed to before. And I'm going to link them in the description below for you guys to see. Everything was done on CodePen. So day one, everything was on CodePen, just practicing, not really worrying about a text editor, but getting all that done in there. So it was actually pretty easy to use. We used a tool called Sling. I'm not actually quite familiar with it, but it was kind of a question and answer presentation style thing, which was kind of cool. And then we also got an introduction to Terminal and Git as well on day one, because we're basically going to get started with GitHub as soon as we can. So, I mean, they really jam-packed a lot of stuff in one day, and it was really, really impressive. One of the neat things that I did, I kind of went out of my way, was a thing they had pair programming. So basically 2 people jump on a Zoom call, and we didn't do it right the first time, but the objective was to have one person kind of lead and steer and one person code and try to just tackle whatever problem that you wanted to. So I did it for some of the stretch stuff, and it was me and a guy named Devin out of New York, and we were just working on doing some animations for the project. Overall, it was actually, I mean, the people there, I don't know how they've done it, but they've really done a good job of just making it feel like you can reach out to everybody. And I mean, I feel like it's kind of, it has to be that way because it's all remote, all online, all via Slack, which is really impressive that they've been able to pull it off as well as they have. And they've really made it feel like an open environment. And I've really, really appreciated that. So it's not something that I could say a lot of companies can do, especially with a school, which is very impressive, like I said. And actually, the piece that I missed was that our team leads are actually students in other cohorts. So they're ahead of us, but they're helping out with us getting started, which I think is interesting. I want to look more into that. So what does the future look like? Sorry, before I dive into that, we ended the day basically by submitting on Airtable a form for everything that we needed to do, or all the projects that we had, and then kind of challenges that we'd had and whatnot. So really, really interesting on how everything was quite smooth, actually. And some of the communication stuff was a little wonky, but we'll iron that out as we have more time with it. But it ended also with a stand-up meeting. So met with our team leads. How is everybody doing? Comments, questions, concerns, compliments, kind of the gambit there. But what does the future look like? So really what I want to do, and it's funny, there were so many resources. My first thought was, oh my gosh, there's a whole, supplementary course that you could put together just on the resources alone. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be linking in the description below more information on these resources as I get them. I'm bookmarking the ever-living hell out of them. So that'll be available for myself and for you guys, whoever is watching these. And I'm also going to, like I said, curate them. But I mean, part of our future assignments, I'm sure, is going to be building a website. One of the things I'm actually looking at doing is rebuilding my personal site using GitHub Pages and Jekyll. That's an open source set of rules that GitHub Pages lets you actually host a free static website. Then you can turn it into a blog as well. And I want to be able to include a lot of those resources there for all of y'all. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, if anything, follow along, and I'm going to have one of these basically every day. I want to try to document this journey and see how things go, see how I learn, see how my behaviors and ideas change. But with that being said, that's all I got for you. We're a little over 10 minutes here, but appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow.